Good afternoon. Welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting for the Oklahoma City Board of Adjustment for February 1st, 2018. Just a couple reminders before we get started. If you have cell phones, myself included, if you could turn those to silent, we would appreciate that. Also, if you wish to speak on a matter today and you're not an applicant, there are forms out on the front table. Feel free to fill one of those out. Provide that to Cindy, and we'll make sure you get called to speak on the case. When you do come up, if you would, start out by giving us your name and address for the record, and please speak into the microphone as clearly as you can. And with that, with that, I'll call the meeting to order, and our first order of business is to receive the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to receive the minutes of the January 18th, 2018 meeting. Please cast your votes, please. And the minutes are received. Next order of business is continuance, requests, or withdrawals. I don't think we have any formally, right?
We don't have any.
Okay. I would like everybody to know, this is what I started to say a second ago, that we only have 3 board members here today. And so as a result of that, you would need all 3 votes for your item to be approved. So if that concerns you in any way, we certainly, given those circumstances, would be happy to entertain a continuance from you if you'd like that. So you can either do that now or we can do it as we call the cases. So seeing nothing, we shall continue.
Item number 1, case number 14444, request of the City of Oklahoma City for a variance to the number and size of signs in the R1 Single Family Residential District located at 2950 Southeastern Avenue.
Good afternoon. My name is David Robinson with Kirkpatrick Architecture. I'm here to represent the city. My address is 114 West Main Street in Norman, 7306. I'm sorry, 73069. When we began the process, we used Station 26 as a go-by. And so out there, they've got a monument sign, and above the bays, they've got the signage with the number. This is a 2-bay station where they had three bays. So we had a little bit less space, so we moved the number and the signage into 2 locations, and we did the monument sign. Though this is an R1 zoning, it's only R1 because it's on parkland. It's really in a commercial, both of them. I'm sorry, we did. This is
you did 2
23.
cases, yeah.
So it's in a commercial zone where. Oh, really? And unfortunately, the contractor did not pull a sign permit until the end of the job. We'd gone through review, everything was blessed, and then we found out then that we weren't in compliance.
Okay. My curiosity question is, that is a gigantic number, which I guess counts against the signage. That's part of what, the 23, in other words, in this case.
Yes.
Why is there a necessity for it to be that large?
This is a prototype structure, so it's the same building for Station 21, 23, 29, and 38. And so it was a way to distinguish between those stations. And being an architect, we like the impact it had to inform the public of the station.
Okay.
It does make you wonder why. I mean, whether it's 21 or 23 or 29 makes no difference. I don't think to the public as much, but it must mean something to the fire department or, the fire department and law enforcement and things like that in terms of properly identifying perhaps a station.
I would agree. I would agree. I think it's kind of interesting. I'm trying to ask myself how we would look at this if it were somebody's shopping center.
I'm assuming.
Oh, never mind.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I've looked at a lot of fire stations. You really do need to have the station number there. It's important. It's all over the city. There's predominant of the number of the fire station. So this goes along and it's in conformity with the other, as he noted, 3 others. You always hear station number 4, station number 1. You know, when there was the bombing at Murrah, dealing with the first responder, I think it's important for a number of reasons, and because it is a fire station, I think it is peculiar, and it's in conformity with the others that have already been built.
I'm just assuming that it was the city had a reason for requesting this. I mean, I don't think it's vanity. You know, I think it was they have a reason for requesting this, and it has to do with public health and safety, I'm assuming. So we don't know what that reason is, but I'm assuming that there's a justification.
Is there anyone here that wanted to be heard on this matter today? Seeing nobody else, if there's no other questions, I'd take a motion.
Make a motion to approve the application.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve case number 14444 for the variance. Please cast your votes, please. And your application is approved.
Good.
Item number 2, case number 14445, request of the City of Oklahoma City for a variance to the number size of signs in the R1 located at 3000 Southwest 29th Street.
Is there anybody that wanted to be heard on this matter today? It is substantially similar. Board members, are there questions about this?
Make a motion to approve the application.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve case number 14445 for the variance. Please cast your votes, please. The application is approved.
Thank you.
Item number 3, case number 14447, application for a special exception to allow child care center in the R4 General Residential District located at 6120 North Drexel Boulevard.
Yeah, come forward, give us your name and address for the record, and tell us about your application.
Hi, my name is Ping Shenfield. You can call me Jessica, and the address is 6120 North Drexel Boulevard in Oklahoma City. And it was a dentist's office at that address, and then I was hoping to get your approval to make it into a daycare center.
Do you know how long it had been a dentist office?
It's been pretty long. I heard that it was from their grandfather generation, and then it's been vacant for several years.
Okay. That's board members' questions for the applicant?
In this particular location, it's not a straight street, is that correct? And it's a couple blocks away from a school, is that correct? Or
Yeah, there's a public school probably like 2 blocks away at a corner.
Also, I think it is also, some people use that street to go as a shortcut for various reasons, is that correct?
Yeah.
Also, I've noticed that when you go down the street, all the way across the street, you have all these houses across the street. Residential housing is very intense. And I just question why that would be an advisable location for this.
So for my concern at the very beginning, it was I wanted the school to be like a little bit away from the main street and then kind of closer to the residential location for children's safety, and then to avoid heavy traffic, like to bring heavy traffic to like expressway or to like main traffic roads. Do I answer your concern?
Another question, how many children do you plan to have?
That has to be, I am planning to take care of 75 to 90, but that depends on what DHS could license me.
I would point out that this application is for essentially approval for a special exception as opposed to granting some variance as it relates to the underlying zoning. And I mean, it's been operated as an office we see a lot of, childcare facilities and centers go in an area where there's, close proximity to schools and residences. To me, it doesn't seem that out of line with the existing use, and it seems to me that as you look at the standards for the special exception, they appear to be met.
I believe that this particular location it could anticipate some conditions that might be hazards for the traffic and safety, and might become not a nuisance, but problematic for the residential individuals, which is, I believe, found in number 6 on the discussion on this. And number 4, I think it will generate vehicular traffic that could be hazardous or conflict with that particular design of that street, location, the proximity.
I have concerns too. That many children, and the drop-off is your short, circular type of drive. The other thing that I think about is you're going to have an outdoor play area in the back, which is where your parking is.
We already designed a fence, and we will try to make it nature as it could. Like, we were not thinking to take out the asphalt for now, but we have landscaper designer to try to make it as natural as it could. And then we will have shades. So there is a tall apartment behind. We will have shades to give children some privacy, and then to the school. And then
Where are your employees going to park?
at the back.
Where the playground is?
No, there will be a fence between the playground and the parking spaces. And there are parking spaces at the side as well. And then for the traffic and hazard concern, we were designing to separate the time, to also make the parents convenient to drop off their children. They can either do carpool at a different time, or they can just walk in their children. And we have designed, because one side of the building is May, the other side is Expressway, and the other side is 63rd. So we were trying to, based on where the parents are from, and then direct their traffic so they won't be coming all at the same time and coming all from one direction.
I guess, I see both of your points. If item number 5 and standards for special exceptions addresses whether or not the site has adequate parking. So that makes sense.
The other thing is in terms of, getting access to this neighborhood, I know this neighborhood well, is to get out to 63rd Street, they're going to go north and then jog a little bit and turn out on 63rd. The only reasonable direction they can go is back east. If you want to go west, you either have to drop off the kids, turn around and go south, and then head back west on 59th, and you're on the south side of D.D. Kirkland, and you're fighting the traffic and the school hours. Then you have to go north, and there's a light at 63rd. And we've heard previous cases about what's going on at 63rd and Drexel. It's gotten to be a more and more congested. The ability to turn south from 59th has become more and more difficult because you've not only got the hotel, but you've got Starbucks, and you've got Chipotle, and everything else in there. Traffic has gotten to be in congestion, and the ability to turn and navigate. So you think about, when parents drop off a child, where do they have to go? They can also go east on 59th over to May Avenue. There is a light there. But if you've got 75 to 90 kids and most of the parents are dropping off children on their way to work, first of all, you've got quite a bit of noise in the street in front of these residences that are across the street, and then you're going to have cars lined up in the street. That's what you're going to have.
Well, it seems to me there's consensus, but is there anyone else that wanted to be heard on this matter today? Seeing none, I'd take a motion.
Make a motion to deny the application.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to deny case number 14447 on the grounds that the standards for special exception have not been met. Please cast your votes, please. And the application is denied.
Item number 4, case number 14448, request for a variance to the minimum 5-acre required to have for a mobile home in the R1 Single Family District located at 12,700 Northeast 59th Street.
Hello, my name is Maria Godinez, and I'm here on behalf of Alejandro Hernandez Zavala for the address of 12700 Northeast 59th Street. It's a 3-acreage land in which we're requesting to add a mobile home to, seeing that there is other mobile homes around the area as well, around the same acreage.
I think this is kind of a staff question, John. Help us understand. The staff report notes that there are this addition, Green Pastures, is an older addition with mobile homes sporadically located on less than 5 acres. But what's the real reason for the ordinance at issue?
Well, for AA or R1, we just want to have mobile homes need to have 5 acres. Single-family homes, obviously, in R1 zone can have 6,000 square foot, but we don't want mobile homes that close together.
So it's really kind of a density issue.
It's a density issue.
Board members?
In this particular area, well, are we talking about 3? You have 3 acres, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. In this particular area, this is kind of the street's kind of really quite a bit undeveloped, is that correct?
Correct.
And how many mobile homes are out in that area?
Within 500 feet, we've seen 4 mobile homes.
So, and around the area beyond that, how many mobile homes do you see in the surrounding area too?
In the surrounding area, there was just one across the street. It's no longer there. I believe they had a fire or something, but that was the only one that was there across from it. Based on the street itself, there's only one other one located a little bit east from the address of 12700 Northeast 59.
So did you say within 500 feet?
Around the area, 500 feet.
Around
There's a total.
your property, you can
Correct.
see 5 other.
Well, we drove around.
Okay.
And
500
looked
feet's not
around
that
to
far.
see how many locations are about the land size, about how many mobile homes were around the area.
Okay.
John, you've taken a look around the area, and I've actually been out there and driven down 63rd and down to 59. Can you discuss with respect to the prevailing use of the mobile homes in that area?
Well, I was looking in the area and I'd say probably about 3 or 4 blocks, city blocks.
Correct.
Not all those larger blocks out there.
Washington
I counted
Street
probably
and
at least 4 in that area. And I know from working that area in the past, there is a lot of mobile homes farther away, but in that same general
Yes.
area.
But isn't that the problem, though? I mean, that the density there continues to increase, and that's specifically what the ordinance seeks to prevent from happening. Because I'm guessing there's not city service in this area, so that's the whole basis for the ordinance.
Right, and a lot of the mobile homes that are out there are non-conforming, the new ones that come in, and that's what we have non-conforming for.
Yep. I would note, just for the record, that there was a letter of support remitted. No one else has signed up to speak on the matter. Is there anyone else that wants to be heard on this? Board members, other questions or? Oh, I'm sorry. Would you mind coming up to the microphone and giving us your name and address?
Chad Williams, my address 12137 Northeast 63rd. I own the lot across from where they're talking about, along with several other lots in the area. They're like 3/4 acre lots, and I was just curious, what is the zoning? You mentioned 6,000 square feet. Is that what required to build a house there, or?
Well, it's R1 zone,
Which means?
which means for R1 zoning, you can build on 6,000 square foot of property, a house.
R1 is essentially single-family residential.
Okay. Minimum 1,500 square feet or 1,000 square feet, or is it specified?
No minimum.
Okay.
I mean, there is a minimum, I believe it's building code is 200 square feet.
Okay. But your questions was about utility and I guess density in the area. I mean, So utilities and everything would have to be developed, whether it was a house or a mobile home, either one, correct?
Well, that's why that's essentially why the ordinance requires those spacings, is to prevent that congestion, because if you don't have sewer, then you got to have septic.
Right.
Right.
But as far as the congestion, it doesn't matter whether it's a house or a mobile home. I mean,
I suppose you can interpret it that way.
okay.
Yeah.
I was just curious. Like I said, I own other land in that area, so.
So are you speaking in opposition to this application, or are you speaking in support?
I'd speak for him. You're familiar with the area, you drove by the area, it's been neglected for several years, there's a lot of trash in the area. Alex has came in, really cleaned that lot up, so I figure he's going to put a nice home in there, kind of help clean the area up. The area across from mine, the city owned it for several years. The gang activity burned down the house that was there, so I'm in the process of cleaning up that lot. Like I said, other lots in the area have been really neglected, so just in the last, I think, 6 months, the city has come through and made the road where you can get down it better. So, I mean, they're trying to improve it, so I would speak for them, in favor of, because I like what they're doing.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else who wants to be heard on this matter today? Board members?
I move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the variance for case number 14448. Please cast your votes, please. The application is approved.
Thank you.
Item number 5, case number 14449, request for a variance to the maximum square footage allowed for accessory structures in the R1 Single Family Residential District located at 2400 Sycamore Avenue.
Good afternoon. I'm Edward Pointer. I live at 2400 Sycamore Avenue, and I'm asking for variance to put a garage/shop on the south side of my acre there. 1,200 square foot shop right there.
You have an existing accessory building, is that correct?
Yes.
And what's the square footage? What's the size of that building?
The existing, my home, or you're talking about existing buildings in the...
The existing building that's not your home. There's an accessory structure.
There's 4 sheds that I have in the backyard there.
What is the total approximate square footage of those?
What was it? 1,250.
Okay, that's pretty close to what's stated in the staff report. Okay. Okay. I will jump out and tell you that this is a really, we see a lot of these applications, and they're very difficult to support. The problem with these types of applications is that typically the reason that they're made is because people are running businesses out of their homes. That's actually referenced in this application, but pretty much there's not a good residential reason why you would need 2,500 square feet of shop building. How big's your house?
It's 21.
For a 2,100 square foot home. I mean, we got more shop building than we got,
Well,
you know.
I don't have a garage,
I understand.
and this is what I just want to use it for a garage.
I would also say, and I don't know, again, some of these people might learn this the hard way that didn't come in here and try to get a variance, but if you look at this place on an aerial, there are accessory buildings. I measured one on Google Earth, and it was measured out at over 2,400 square feet. It's enormous. I mean, so I have a hard time believing that one is a lawfully issued variance to have that. This is in this area too. It's a lone kind of residential area tucked around a lot of industrial and commercial uses. So it's a tough one for me to support. I'm going to be honest with you.
So, I mean, like I said, there's a half acre right there that so I can't do anything.
So the ordinance is there because you could have 80 acres. But because you're zoned R1, you are subjected to a limitation on the amount of accessory square footage. And again, I interpret that ordinance to be to prevent people from an R1 area from operating a business within R1, which is specifically prohibited. And so it's really hard to when you see accessory building applications, normally we have people in here in opposition for it and stating that, yeah, they're running a business and things like that. I don't think that we have anyone in opposition today, but those are my comments.
But I'm not running a business out of it.
I understand. I'm telling you that.
So I see what you're saying. You're just saying yes, I got you.
I also have a problem with this one. I think that the alternative would be, you don't have a garage because someone converted it, is that correct, to a room?
Yes.
And you have paving where cars can be parked, and in historic places, people lining their cars up on paved parking. And there was a suggestion that paved parking could be obtained without building a garage. Is that correct, John? That paved parking could be obtained without building a garage. Is that correct?
Yes, you could obtain hard surface parking there and park without having a garage.
And I would be more inclined to say that that would be the better way to go with this particular place.
I don't have an issue with parking. I don't understand.
The application says you have problems with parking.
That I have problems with parking?
It says living at a residence, it's you, your wife, mother-in-law, 2 driving teenage drivers. We're out of places to park. A garage would alleviate the cluster of cars. We live on a dead-end road and a lot of traffic turns around the front of our house. We've had 4 incidences of sideswiping.
Well, yes, but that's what the garage is for, to keep, my cars in, to keep them out of the weather and stuff like that. This is all this was for, I guess. Yes, then I guess I'd have issue with
I think what they're
parking
telling you
outside.
is they're not comfortable approving the additional accessory building space, but you do have the ability to create more off-street parking so that your cars are not subjected to somebody coming up and down the street.
I would also note for the record, we do have a letter of opposition to the application in our packet, and it insinuates that there is a business being operated from the location, just so you know.
Okay.
I'm assuming no, but is there anyone else who wants to be heard on this matter today? Board members, other questions or comments?
Make a motion to deny the application.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to deny case number 14449 on the grounds that the elements of a variance are not met. Please cast your votes, please. And the application is denied. Okay. Communications and reports. Municipal Counselor's Office. Board members. I would say I want to thank the city staff for putting on the recent committee and commission board training. I thought it was great. I enjoyed being there. Actually learned quite a bit from that experience, and I'm grateful. I would also say there was something that came out of that I just want to kind of go over and make sure we procedurally are doing the things that we should be doing. So these are some notes that I jotted down from a discussion from the Municipal Counselor's Office, Susan Randall, on issues with making motions and things like that, so I'll just share these briefly. First one is you need to be careful to specifically articulate any changes into the motion. We don't see as much of that in here, but there are instances where we'll make some sort of a change to the application the way it's done, and we're not careful to be sure that that's read in. They sort of said that those really need to be read into the record. I don't know that we always do that, so that's something we probably ought to be mindful of. The other thing that they suggested is, and I don't think this one really applies to us, but ensuring, which is kind of the reason why I tried to stop and ask John about that, the case with the second to last case, was if staff agrees or you're creating problems for staff by approving something that you're not aware of or that an applicant may not even be aware of. So that's something else they brought up. The other thing is, and I think this is great, and I don't know that we run into this a lot either, but it is worth noting, if somebody seeks a continuance and there's opposition there, I think it's important that we get into the record and between the parties an understanding of the issues that need to be resolved before the next meeting. And the idea there is that you prevent additional continuances because people come back and they haven't solved the problems that they needed to solve for us to rule on the merits. And then lastly, it was, they kind of gave some examples of how to properly and fully articulate your motions. I'm certainly guilty of this as anybody, but basically just saying, and Laura, please correct me if you disagree with this, but I move approval of the application based on a specific finding that the elements of a variance have been met, as opposed to just saying, move the application or move to deny or something like that. So these are things they pointed out, obviously, because they have concerns about the way we're doing things. So I'm trying to be mindful of that concern. So is that fair? That is fair. She has concerns about the way we're doing things up here. That's what she's saying. So
Not regularly. I think for the most part, everything goes pretty smoothly.
okay. Citizens to be heard, or other board members, I guess. Is there something else you wanted to share with us?
So if I can come up with a plan to solve the traffic concerns you were mentioning, when could I resubmit the case?
You will need to circle back with staff after today's meeting to get an idea of what steps you can take from this point.
Okay, thank you.
Other business? Even though we allegedly don't have to, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
My question is, how do we craft a properly motion to adjourn? Is the motion to adjourn
We don't.
adequate?
That's the irony. Apparently, we don't need one. You could just get up and leave right now. So,
Well, I enjoy making a motion to adjourn. So much.
motion to second to adjourn. Votes. And there we are.